Hello kids, how are you all? Hope all of you are doing very well and safe at home. Shall we start today's class? So, today we are gonna study 8th standard second languages poem in the 4th unit, that is for a 5-year-old boy. Isn't it fun to start a class with an activity that is again a lot of fun? See, what is the activity for the day? Twist your tongue, kids, you are grown up now. You have done enough exercise of pronunciation. Here is a fantastic test for you to twist your tongue and see how better you can pronounce. So what is it? Yeah, it's here, coming. Look at this sentence. She sells seashells by the seashore. Of course, the tongue twisters are in every language and they are the fun of language learning. We shall pronounce this sentence and see how good it sounds to pronounce the sentence with the same sound of words. So, I have marked with the color of words that are similar in sound and you can go speeding up your pronunciation as fast as you can. So, shall we try now? Let us start slowly. She sells seashells by the seashore. Now, speed up a bit. She sells seashells by the seashore. Shall we rush? She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. Isn't it fun? So, I hope all of you are loving pronouncing such tongue twisters. So, I have brought another for you. Shall we go for it? We surely shall see the sunshine soon. You can ask such sentences to be pronounced by your friends who will fail to pronounce and you can have a lot of fun laughing at them. We shall pass on to the next slide. Kids, you have some insects here. Insects are like small creatures that are visible around us. You might have seen some creatures like this. How was your reaction when you see such insects? What is it? Isn't it a mosquito? So there are many insects like this around us and we may hesitate to see and touch them. So there are some insects like this and just remember what is your reaction while watching them very close by to you. Something is going away from you. What is it? Can you just identify what is that creature that is going away? Yes, we will come to know what is that creature. Before that, I just want to know your reaction when you see an insect around you somewhere. This is how you react, right? You see a creature which is very awkward around and you yell at it. You yell at your mom or yell at your parents or friends to move away from it. And finally, what do? You will throw it away. You will throw it out like this. That's how it is moving. So, we never try to compassionately look at a creature which is just like part of creation like human beings only. Yes. Why are we thinking all of this is today's poem, as you informed before, for a 5-year-old boy, talks about how do we treat our fellow creatures. We the humans think that we should dominate amongst them because we have all the rights to live on this earth. No, there are fellow creatures with which we have to be compassionate and friendly too. But what we do being elders and what we teach you is we don't be compassionate towards them, but we preach you. We say that you have to be compassionate, but while practicing that would be something else. So, the context of the poem is to understand why and how we need to study this poem. There is a difference between what we preach and what we practice. There is a lot of difference that we have with the words we speak or the expressions that we give or the opinions that we give. But while practicing or doing or behaving with, we differ. We don't follow what we are preaching. The second thing that the poem says about is children do what we do, not what we say. Yes, you too do the same in the class, right? If teacher is looking at you and asking you to perform your given work well, then you concentrate. Otherwise, if for a minute you are not absorbed by the teacher, you will not concentrate on anything given. You will start talking to your friends, you will start jumping, and that is very common. That is the context of the poem that we are studying today. What comes next? It is very much important to know about the poet before we get into the poem. So, the poet of this poem is Fleur Adcock. She is a poet and an editor, was born in 1934 in New Zealand, England, and now she is 86 years old. She studied in Victoria University of Wellington. Adcock mainly wrote about human relationships. She was a librarian by profession. She looked after a library, but she was a poet too at the same time. These are some of her works that are very famous. The Eye of the Hurricane, Tigers. This A Tiger is the first volume of her poems. That was the first edition that she brought out. High Tides in the Garden, Meeting the Comet, The Faber, Book of 20th Century, Women's Poetry, that is the edited one. Edited one is collection of literature work. So, Glass Wings and Dragon Talk. These are some of the main and famous things that I have listed. There are many others also. Here are her achievements or the awards that she has got for her work and the contribution in literature. Order of the British Empire is one of the privilege that is given by British rule. Second one is Chimley Award by Society of Authors in England, New Zealand National Book Award, Jessie Mackay Prize twice she has got for her poetry collection, then New Zealand National State Literary Fund Award. So this is all about the poet that you need to know. And children, now this is reading time, and you know reading is so much of fun. So poem for a 5-year-old boy by Fleur Adcock. A snail is climbing up the windowsill into your room after a night of rain. You call me in to see, and I explain that it would be unkind to leave it there. It might crawl to the floor. We must take care that no one squashes it. You understand, and carry it outside with careful hand to eat a daffodil. Second part of the poem. I see then that a kind of faith prevails. Your gentleness is molded still by words from me who have trapped mice and shot wild birds. From me who drowned your kittens, who betrayed your closest relatives, and who purveyed the harshest kind of truth to many others. But that is how things are. I am your mother, and we are kind to snails. Children, you can repeat the poem in your own group of studies. There are some new words, of course. Today we are gathering and learning what they are. Windowsill, kitakiya anchu. How does it look like? Yes, a windowsill looks like this, where the snail was crawling. Can you see the snail over the windowsill? So windowsill is the lower wooden frame of the window. We can make a sentence like this using the word. Rakhi always slaps the windows against windowsill while closing. So window is this, windowsill is this. So one closes the window. Second word, crawl, tevaluvudu. Move forward on hands and knees. You might have got a small child at home. The child which cannot walk with its legs will always crawl using its hands and legs. So crawling can be used in a sentence like this. The baby crawls to move towards the doll. When the baby wants to move, it will not walk, it will crawl. Squashing is smashing or crushing something with hands. How does it happen? To crush something to juice, some solid thing to be juice. So it can be used in a sentence like this. The oranges are squashed to make a juice out of them. So if you have an orange, you will squash it to make juice out of it. Pave, odagisuvudu. Odagisuvudu is providing something. So can you get it by this pic, kids? Here in the poem, what we are talking about is purveying through words. So when somebody speaks to the other to convey some message, that is the purvey considered here to be odakisuvudu. So what could be the meaning of it? Spread or promote. Grocery shops purvey cooked food to nowadays. Kind is karune tava karunya. Can you get a sentence watching this pic? So we need to try to understand the words always contextually. Why am I showing you picture to every slide is, when we listen to a word, we must be able to make meaning watching the sequence or the context. That is friendly, generous or considerate. One who is friendly or very generous in nature. Caring, also being kind. How are we using it in sentence? Neeta is kind towards animals. Oh, where have we arrived now? Any idea? Yes, we are now stepping forward to understand the poem. We have already studied the poem, kids, and you know it is about a snail traveling. On a rainy night, there was a snail on window sill. A child was sleeping inside its room, and there was a snail that is crawling on the windows of his room. It was a rainy night that you need to mark down. Child calls the mother and shows her the snail sneaking. Mother negates the child from hurting it and passes it on to a daffodil flower to feed on him. When the mother enters the room, she says kid that fellow creatures should not be hurted or harmed. They should be left to live with full of liberty and freedom they have. So she says no hurting to the snail. You should take it in your hand and land it over a daffodil flower to feed on. Usually the snails eat flowers. She doesn't want kid to hurt it. So she is explaining why. Gentleness is molded by words is what the mother thinks. Mother now thinks that only by saying one can develop a good behavior in their children. She thinks that if I say that you should not harm the creature, child will learn it only through words. I told you there is a turn in the poem. The next moment mother thinks, am I the one who is saying this? Mother now is self-introspecting that I am the one. ತಾಯಿ ಮಗುವಿಗೆ ಆ ಬಸವನ ಹುಳುವನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಿಡು ಕಿಟಕಿಯಿಂದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ, ಇದು ನಾನೇ ತಾಯಿನಾ, ನಾನು ಏನೇನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಬೇರೆದನ್ನ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪೋಯಮ್, ವಾಟ್ ಶಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. She had done many things very in opposite to that. Then she self-introspects, thinks of trapping mice, you know, iligalu. So she trapped mice, shooting birds, she shot wild birds and drowning kittens kind of acts. She did all this. She trapped mice, she shot the bird and she drowned the kittens. Kittens ಬೆಕ್ಕಿನ ಮರಿಗಳು. Drowning is ನೀರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಳುಗಿಸುವುದು. She is the one who drowned the kittens inside the water. Poem ends on a sarcastic note. Not only harming animals, she also remembers betraying relatives by spreading words across them. We speak many things right, but we don't do everything in the same right way. So there is a difference between what we speak and what we do. So just observe the last lines of the poem. Where does it say, that is how things are, I am your mother. Taking place of a mother is different and difficult, and we are kind to snails. So she is trying to teach the kid to be kind to the snail, whereas she did not do all that. So this is how we need to understand the poem in two parts. There are two parts of it. So you need to read it with a difference. First part is teaching the kid. Second part is she introspecting herself. ಅವರನ್ನು ಅವರು ಆತ್ಮಾವಲೋಕನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದು. Introspecting is ಆತ್ಮಾವಲೋಕನ. ಆತ್ಮಾವಲೋಕನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು what she thinks about herself then. So these are the two parts of the poem. You need to repeatedly study after the class. Now there is something to be observed in the poem, that is rhyme scheme. Prasa anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. It is all the same in English language also. Rhyme scheme is the pattern of rhyming words at the end of the poem or a song. When you read a poem or recite a song, there are words that sound similar at the end of the lines, end of each line. Shall we see how does it work? Here is an example for you. Children, here is a stanza by which we can understand better how rhyme scheme works in a poem. This is a complete stanza. Can you see those rings covering words at the end? What do they say? I wandered lonely as a cloud. So now I will go to the last ending words itself. Cloud, hills, crowd, daffodils, trees, breeze. How are they sounding and why are they colored in different color of rings? Here is a box getting you the color code of the words marked. A is in red color and here are 2 rings with the red color. B is in green and again you have 2 words in green. C is blue. There are 2 words that are marked in blue color. How does the color correspond with the word? It is very simple. These 2 words sound like the same. Cloud and crowd. That is why they are marked in red color and given as A. Hills, daffodils. Hills and daffodils sound the same. So they are marked in green color and it is called B section. A and B. They are put into different sections. Now it comes to C. What is C? C is in blue. So how are the words that are in blue pronounced? Yes, trees and breeze. That sound same. It is just like how we in Kannada pronounce the words like, for example, Chandira and Mandira. Chandira, Mandira. Both differ in spellings but pronounced in the same sound category. And here also the same thing. You have some words that are pronounced in a very similar pronunciation manner. And rhyme scheme should always be counted on the words at the end of a stanza. You cannot go with the words like in between or in the beginning of the stanza. So that's how the rhyme scheme in a poem works. So how are we working out with the same rhyme scheme in the present poem? Is there any rhyme scheme and how do we categorize? And we always are marking the rhyme scheme categorizing as A, B, C, D or how much ever rhyming words do we get in a poem. It's not that we have to always go with A, B, C, only A, B, C. No, it's not like that. There can be any number of matching words with the sounds and we go naming them as A, B, C and whatever. So let us have a look at what is the rhyme scheme of our present poem. See kids, this is the first part of the poem. We already have read it, so you know the words very well. And how are we working out with the rhyme scheme here? You already know that we are going to the words at the end of the lines. Fine. So, windowsill. Does it match with rain? No. Rain is matching with some other word. Which is the word in the stanza? Yes, that is explain. Rain matches with explain. What is the word that may match with there? That is care in the next line. Oh, we have another word that is matching. There and care. And what is the next word? Understand. Understand matches with what word here? Does it match with the windowsill? No, it is not matching with the windowsill. Again, we have to look down. Of course, there is a word that is hand. Understand? Hand. These are 2 words similar in the pronunciation. There is another word left out at the end of the poem, daffodil. Does it match with any of the lines here? Any of the word that is at the end? Yeah. Go back, go back, go back. Here is a word that is windowsill. Windowsill matches with daffodil. How do we rhyme scheme this? Can this happen? Yes, you are right. This can happen and we have 2 similar words. Again, I have marked in green color sounding the same words and again there are 2 words with a similar sound there and care. Then again 2 words we have understand and hand. And this continues in the second part of the poem also, but that is for your assignment kids. You are doing it as part of your assignment. So, how does this work and how to name them as rhyming words? Yeah, can you see here? I marked the first word as A, that A matches with the last word. So, if the sound is matching, A matches with A. Can you see another A at the end? That is because windowsill is matching with daffodil. This is how rhyming words should be matched to make a rhyme scheme. So, this is called the rhyme scheme of the poem. What is the rhyme scheme of the poem? Rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, B, C, C, D, D, A. A, B, B, C, C, D, D, A. Because we have the words that are paired here, here and here, and for the first one in the last line. So, when you are asked what is the rhyme scheme of the poem, what do you say? This is how you say A, B, B, C, C, D, D and A at the end. So this is the rhyme scheme of the poem, and I want you to try the second part of the poem with the same rhyme scheme and submit it to your subject teacher. So shall we move on? So this is time to check our comprehension. So here is a question, who is the speaker of the poem? Of course, there is a picture also to help you to get the answer. Who is talking to whom in the poem? And that is none other than speaker of the poem is the mother of the kid. She is the poet only. And she is the mother of the kid in whose room there was a snail. Here is the second question. Of course, this is a very familiar creature for us now. Obviously, you can answer this. You had been watching the same creature from the first slide. So, what is the name of this creature? The creature in the poem is a snail. Where was the snail sitting? Almost it is repeatedly discussed in the poem. So, your answer is ready. Hope all of you are right with your answer. It was sitting on the windowsill in a rainy night. Your next question is, what did mother remember when she advised the kid not to let snail to be squeezed? Mother remembers something, what and all she did. What could be that? I am giving hints through these pictures to you. All these three things she remembers when she suggested the kid. What are they? Here is the answer. She remembers of trapping mice, shooting bird, drowning kittens and betraying relatives through her words. Here comes practice question for you kids. Practice questions are to write the answers on your own, referring the poem. So, you need to refer your poem, read it again and take help of your teacher to answer these questions. Shall we look at them? What are they? When did snail appear on the windowsill? What is the time and what is the consequence when it appeared on the windowsill of the child? List the phrases that suggest cruel deeds of the mother. There are some things that mother did. There are 3 pictures I showed you. Can you remember those 3? And that is the answer for this question. So, I hope you will answer this. What does the snail eat? There is one word at the end of first stanza. I am giving another hint to you. It feeds on something. What is it? That's a flower. Last question. What is snail doing as said in the first paragraph? What is it doing? It is doing something. And that is said in the first paragraph. You refer the first paragraph and answer what snail is doing. So, these are some practice questions for you and we shall move on to the next part, that is how to frame questions. Kids, here is a sentence where some parts of the sentence have been covered. You must be thinking, why have been they covered? Yes. So, now we are concentrating on framing questions, right? So, the cover parts of the sentence must be the answer for our next questions. So, a sentence always starts with a noun, you know that. So, beginning, there must be a noun, right? Shall we see what is it? Yes, sentence starts as Manjula was very angry on whom? On whom she was angry? Yes, she was angry on Shailesh. For what? For what she was angry? Manjula was very angry on Shailesh for having breaking her mobile. What did Shailesh do? Shailesh did break her mobile. When? When did he do this? He did it in the last night. So, the complete sentence says Manjula was angry on Shailesh for having breaking her mobile last night. Children, you need to remember that what are the parts that have been covered in this sentence, because we are going to frame questions based on the same words. And who was angry? Can we go back to the sentence and see who is angry? Yes. I want you to write down the sentence and try answering the questions next to this. So, better to copy this. First question is, who was angry? Second question is, why was she angry? Why was she so angry? There is a reason. You have to write the reason here. Why asks the reasons always. So, this is a hint pick for you again. So, you can refer to this. What did Shailesh break? He broke something and your answer is already there. You need to just write the word. When did Shailesh break her mobile? When always asks the time, date or the day something happened. So, this is about time. This is about action that had happened some action took place. Why demands the reason. Who asks the person's name. Who andre yaru. Person's name you need to mention. Why, yake, what, yenu, when, yavaga. So shall we move on to next slide where you have some question words listed here. You have learnt it in your 7th standard as well as in the 6th standard. You know well how to make sense of these words. So I am just introducing you the words here. They are also called WH words because many of the words start with WH. What, when, where, who, why, whom, which and whose. Then there is another word, kids, that doesn't come with WH but counts as a question word. That is one and only how. So these are some words that majorly frame a question. So I am moving to the next slide where you have your assignment relating to the same thing. You need to frame questions here. So what are you going to do now? You are going to copy these sentences in your notebook. This phrase should be the answer for your question. For example, Riya takes her mother's help to complete her homework. So mother's help should be the answer. So what is the question word you are going to use is left to you. Second sentence, Jitin sings Hindustani classical songs. So Jitin, the person, should be the answer. And we had discussed it in the last slide that for a person's name, what should be the word used? The question word. Same thing here also, but here is a difference. In the third sentence, you have 2 segments to answer. So first segment is a mask. Samir never forgets to wear a mask while going out. You need to frame 2 questions here. One should get the answer a mask. The second question should get the answer while going out. So fine, shall we move on to the next slide where we have arrived at the end of the session, kids, and we again have tongue twisters here. Have you practiced so far? We have almost spent half an hour in the class and definitely I know some of you might have tried it by the time. So what was our first tongue twister? Take a few seconds of time. She sells seashells by the seashore. The next sentence, we surely shall see the sunshine soon. As always, you learn in the English classes. Open your textbook, open page number 72, read the poem, and at the same time, you have a QR code up on the same page where you can scan it with Diksha app and perform more exercises based on the same poem. So, as always, don't forget to scan this QR code and perform exercises. And how to do it is also given in the textbook itself on its cover page. So, hopefully all of you will have a good time till we meet again, and I wish all of you a safe, happy days ahead till we meet. So, bye bye. Take care.